Hello and welcome to my game dev livestream. My name is Brian and this is stream number 54. This week I've been working on file system, persistent data, saving game data, those sorts of things. So let me get my scripts open. I got some new pictures of our dog today. This is her. It's Ruby. She's very cute. And tomorrow we're heading out on our way to go pick her up. It's a long drive, and we're basically going there and back, so we're gonna stay somewhere overnight, which is why I can't stream tomorrow night or the next 2 nights. So I'm gonna try and get what I can done tonight. Okay, so the file system is made up of 3 main things. So we have the file system itself. File system lets you save data, lets you load data. These are the 2 main interfaces. I'll put these up at the top. But it also lets you check if a file exists and get this the file size in bytes. And then we have some shared functions for how we convert strings to byte arrays and back. So that's the file system. All you give it is the file path that you want to save to, and then the data. It's located at the persistent data path plus the given file path. Okay, and then we have this mono behavior called persister. Hello, I'm W2 Melvin's dad. Thanks for joining. So the persister is going to go on to different game objects, and it has a directory and a list of persistable scriptable objects, which is another thing we've got over here. So we've got our directory and then our objects to persist, and then on enable we will loop through all of the objects to persist, and if that file exists, then we will load it up. If it does not, we don't do anything. We just go on to the next one. And then when the persister script is disabled, then we loop back through all of them and we save them back out. And we build the file path by taking the directory and getting the file name, and then we have an incrementing number, that's this I value, and then we save it in .dat files. The last piece of this is this abstract persistable scriptable object, persistable SO class. This basically says anything that inherits this abstract class has to implement these functions, so that way the persister can act upon them. So each persistable object has a file name, it has some data that we can get, and then we can restore it from data. And we can see an example of this in the character kinematic data. So we made the character kinematic data of type or inherit from persistable scriptable object. It's got all of its other stuff it always had. And then it's got these ones. So to get the data, we will use JSON utility and turn this object into JSON, and then use the file system string to byte array. The file name is going to be called character kinematic data. It's basically just the name of the class. And then we can restore it from data. So we take in a byte data, we do the inverse. We turn our byte array into string, and then we do from JSON overwrite into itself. So that's how this works. So each persistable object is going to determine how it gets its data and restores its data. So I could be pretty granular with this. I could even, at this level, encrypt the data if I don't want the player to be able to see it. And the persister and the file system have to know nothing about encryption or anything like that. It just says write the data out, restore the data. So I think we're pretty much ready to test this out. What we need to do is set up some stuff in the editor inspector, I guess. Yeah, probably the inspector. So we got our dynamic character, and we gave it a persister script, and the directory is /player, and then we're going to give it an object to persist. We only have one, and that's the player kinematic data. So now, when we run our scene, onEnable will get called, which will call this. It'll try to load it. It does not exist, so it won't do anything. And then when we close the scene, onDisable will get called. And I can put in a debug.log here. Persister on disable. Just so we can see. So I'm going to hang out up here. Then when I click stop, let's go to the console. It says persister on disable. We have an error here which says directory not found exception, could not find a part of the path, blah blah blah. The issue here is that it probably doesn't have the directory, and so it can't do that part. How do we get around that? Let's go check out that path. So we got C, users, my name. I goes into app data, local low. Default company. Huh. Okay. This is from some stuff from last night when I was running the build player. Okay. So I think the persister has to go and do the directories first. So I was thinking that this open or create mode should work, but it doesn't work if one of the directories in the path doesn't exist. It won't just create something arbitrarily deep. You have to create it step by step. So I think we need to add some new code here that checks if the directory exists. If not, creates it. Unity does directory exist. Okay, looks like it's basically the same to check if a file or a folder exists. You just give it the directory. Oh no, you have to use directory.exist. Oops. Misread that. I'm curious, you do like a create directory? Yeah, okay. So we can do public static static void create directory. Cool. Let's try that one more time. Okay, no error that time. That is a good sign. Hello, Drew Loves Pinky. Thanks for joining and commenting. I'm gonna set a timer for 13 minutes. We'll do a viewer mini game in 13 minutes. So if you're still on at that time, you can win some points. I'm doing this because you're the second viewer to join. No need to be sad, Drew Loves Pinky. Hey, look at that. So we've got a player directory, and inside of here we have kinematic, character kinematic data 0.dat. And look at that. It's got all of our data in here for, well, it's poorly formatted, but this has everything. So if we look, this should match what's in the kinematic data here. We've got max move slope, skin width, max move speed, air control modifier, crouch speed modifier, initial jump velocity, max jumps remaining. Gravity is grounded, velocity, and position. It's all right in here. So, now let's make sure that it loads back up. I'm gonna not save this. Going to just undo a bunch, I guess. So the player should load up here. Yep. Doesn't look like there was any errors with that. That's cool. Now, it would be good to do a build here and show that it works even in the build, because before, if you remember, when we did the build, it did not persist. Okay. Very interesting that it says 12/8/21 as the date modified. Weird. So first off, we're already off to a good start because the players started here, and before they were starting down here, it's at like 0, 0. So I'm gonna jump in the air, and then I'm gonna quickly hit Alt F4 so that it like closes down. Okay. Now when I boot it back up, player should start in the air. Ha! That worked. So check this out. I'm gonna stand here under this door. I'm gonna do Alt F4. And then when I load up, I'm gonna be like inside of the door. Oh. That's concerning. So there's a bug. Which is why, rather than loading at the position that the JSON said, I loaded up at the place where the scriptable object last said I was, which, as you recall, doesn't persist. I'm gonna run it through a JSON validator like this person recommends. Oh, I think I know what's going on. So this is junk from a previous file. It's not clearing the file before overwriting it completely. So this is a bug in the persistent or in the file system code. So when we do the save data, we just do write stream dot. What does flush do? C# file stream flush. I think I need to choose a different file mode. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So specifies that the operating system should open an existing file. When the file is open, it should be truncated so that its size is 0 bytes. Okay, I think that's what I want. I think I want it to truncate the file because I have new stuff to write to it. I don't want to trust any of the old stuff in there. But I want it to truncate, but I just don't want it to create a new file if it doesn't exist, so that's a problem. Is there a way to do truncate from here? Okay, that would be time to do a view our minigames. So let's open up Notepad. Let's do minigame trivia. So, if you're watching right now, you get to participate in a trivia minigame. I'm going to ask a trivia question. It's going to be related to video games. And if you get it right, you get 500 points. You only get one guess. You're not allowed to use the internet. And you have to be the first person to get it right. Let's see. So far, I've been mostly asking video game history trivia. Let's ask... let's ask easy questions. These are category of easy video game questions. Okay. Some of these are not super easy questions. I'll write the question into chat. All right. The question is, what is the name of Mario's dinosaur sidekick? Drilo Spinky says Yoshi. Yoshi is the correct answer. Congratulations, Drilo Spinky. You win. Let's see. One more bonus one that won't be points for this. I'm just curious if either of you know. This question is, the Umbrella Corporation is a fictitious pharmaceutical company in what game? No, Fallout New Vegas is not correct. Resident Evil is correct. Resident Evil is the correct answer. The answer is Resident Evil. Right, they made the T-virus. Good job on the trivia, guys. I think I might want to use this instead. It seems like it does what I want. It creates a new file, writes the specified byte array to the file, and closes it. If the target file already exists, it's overwritten. do file dot write all bytes. Path is going to be this dot. Oh, well, it's going to keep doing that until I rebuild it because, yeah, okay. Okay, that's right. Continues to be right. Let's do this. So I was hoping to do this, and then when the game loaded up, I was going to be like in the door. Just to prove a point that not everything is persisted. Like the doors will not stay up, they'll come back closed. Right, I got pushed over there. Okay, cool. How big is this file? 1 kilobyte? Specifically 332 bytes. That's a pretty small file. I don't think. Well, how many of those would it take to make up a one gig worth of saved data? Three million objects in my game. So I think that's actually basically it. Right, like I have proven that I can read and write up a file. Yeah. So if I wanted to make the doors persist, the doors are an environment. I got scriptable data here. So for the door, I have a door open and a door close event. We're not persisting events. I was just thinking that may cause a problem if you don't persist like a lockable event. Just thinking about this. So with the kill zone, for example, got the scripts, gameplay, kill zone. Maybe not the kill zone, maybe it's the respawner. Player respawner. So this is interesting. If we don't persist this lock or unlock state of a game, a lockable game event, if you die, the player dies, and the fade in thing triggers, and then the fade in it finishes, and it unlocks the game event, and then you close down the game, and you boot back up. The player respawn event is now locked again, because that's not persisted, but not the fade out stuff is not going to be re-triggered. Probably be something like we have a script somewhere that is like on enable. It will check and see if the player is dead, and if so, then start this thing again. It seems pretty resolvable. Yeah, but I can persist other data pretty easily. So like if I wanted to make the health data persistible, to do. Gonna put this here. This one here will be pretty interesting because there's events in here, so I'm curious how this prints out. File name, return, character, health, data. So here we're saving the kinematic data and then the health data. Let's try this. We'll go over here and then we'll make sure to hurt the player a bit. Got the health data, we'll do hurt by 10. Oh. Whoa. Okay, whatever. Weird behavior there. Okay. Interesting that it does not get the current health. It's almost certainly because I have this here. So what happens when I try to restore it then? Generate a JSON representation of the public fields of an object. Internally, this method uses the Unity serializer, therefore the object you pass must be supported by the serializer. It must be a mono-behavior scriptable object or plain class/struct with the serializable attribute applied. Types of fields that you want to be included must be supported by the serializer. Unsupported fields will be ignored, as will private methods, private fields, static fields, and fields with the non-serialized attribute applied. Any plain class or structure is supported, as well as classes derived from mono-behavior or scriptable objects. Other engine types are not supported. Note that while it is possible to pass primitive types to this method, the results may not be what you expect. Instead of serializing them directly, the method will attempt to serialize their public instant fields, producing an empty object as a result. Similarly, passing an array to this method will not produce a JSON array containing each element, but an object containing the public fields of the array itself, of which there are none. To serialize the actual content of an array or primitive type, it is necessary to wrap it in a class or struct. Hello, Coruscant. Thanks for joining. Angry cat head, hedopato. Thanks for joining. Game's going pretty good. Right now I'm working on file system stuff. I'm working on making it so that the players' data, like their health data and their kinematic data, basically like their location and stuff, is persisted in a file system, because scriptable objects don't get saved when you do builds. So that's what I'm doing. So the players here, if I move over here and then like down here and I stop the game, it gets saved out to these files here, these kinematic character kinematic data 0.dat and character health data 1.dat, and then these can be opened and viewed, so you can see what the data in here looks like. So it's pretty cool stuff. All right, let me save up my data that I've got now. So I've got persistent data folder, file system, persistable, scriptable object, persister, input system, characters, scriptable object data is changed. Yeah, it looks good. Builds, file system, persistent data system on top of it. Adds, makes character, kinematic, and health data persistent. Coruscant, you ask, how long do I think it will take to finish the game? That's a good question. So I could definitely take as long as I wanted to working on a game. Right? Like I could probably spend years trying to perfect a game. But my goal for myself for this year is to release the game by the end of the year. So I started right at the beginning of the year. I kind of had the idea floating around in my head for a while, but I didn't sit down and start working on it or learning Unity until the beginning of this year. And my goal is to have it released on Steam, published on Steam by the end of 2022. And so I've got my roadmap here that kind of maps out all the things I need to do. And I've shown this a bit before. I'm not sure if you've seen it. But it's got all the things I've done so far, all the things I have left to do, and there'll be more things that pop up as I continue. But I've got some things kind of planned out here where I think they might show up. So like I've got a tutorial. I'd like to have a tutorial done by the end of July. I'd like to have a gameplay demo at that time. So the gameplay demo is kind of like with a tutorial. And then all the way at the very end, at the end of December, release game on Steam. That was my #1 goal. And then I have all these lines or dependencies, things that are blocking it. So yeah, lots of cool stuff in here. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 features done out of, I think, 75 that I started with. So yeah, this game could be a Christmas gift. If you know someone who'd love to play this game for Christmas, yeah. It might be a little bit late. I'm not going to try to have it done by Christmas per se. We'll see. It's so far out. I have no idea what the state of the game will be like then. But right now I'm trying to build up all of the core things, and I'm working towards having a tech demo by the end of March, beginning of April. And so that's what this block is here, a tech demo. So there are some things I have left to wrap up before then. I've got to get basic attacks done. I've got to get the time warp done. And then chrono boxes are sort of a core thing I want to have in the tech demo. It sort of shows what the spirit of the game is going to be like. You say, I can release it on your birthday. You wouldn't mind. Well, I'm sure you wouldn't. When is your birthday? Well, you just let me know, of course, on if you want to join another time, and let me know. That's fine too. December 29th. Hey, that might line up pretty well. It'd be cool if I could have it out for Christmas. That would be pretty cool, but I think just generally lining it up with Steam Winter Sale would be a good idea. Okay, so some bookkeeping things. I've got functionality to read up a file done, writing a file done, and then I have a scene which tests that I can read and write to a file. There's no specific scene that does this, but anything that has a character on it will do this, and I've seen it work, so I know that works. There's lots of things which are not yet persisted, and that is later work, right? But I say that is done. Done. So, when did I start work on this? The 8th, 9th, and then the 10th. This just took me like 3 days. Cool. Bam, look at that. Not even halfway through the week. Got done with everything I wanted to. That's because I won't be really around the rest of the week. Okay, let's note some accomplishments from today. Alright, gotta go, Coruscant. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. Appreciate checking up on the progress. Have a nice day. Or evening, I don't know what your time is. I learned about... Yeah. About overwriting files. Got my persistent data system set up and tested. Finished this sprint early. Currently persisting character health and kinematic data. Noted persistent data issues with lockable game events and what was the other thing I noted? Oh, data members that override the getters and setters. I learned that private data cannot be JSON serialized by the built-in Unity tools. Noted some bugs with respawning when the death screen is not in the scene. Next time is a little ways out, so I'm not super sure what's gonna go on, but looking at my do I have anything assigned to a sprint? No, I don't think I have anything else assigned to a sprint. Probably might do some I think next week needs to be basic attacks. I think that's got to be it. Basic attacks next week. Plus a puppy cam. So if you check in next week when I'm streaming, I'm gonna have a puppy cam. Hopefully, we'll see. I have an extra webcam. I should be able to do it. Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna wrap up for tonight. I gotta get some stuff taken care of because I'm heading out tomorrow evening and I want to make sure I've got everything ready. One moment. Okay. Well, like I said already, that's all for tonight. Thanks for watching. Thank you for the warm wishes and And yeah, happy with my progress this week. So have a nice night. Bye.